Along with the guest comes the vehicle. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So now, two things are happening in all this. Yes. One is yes. That, so now, that things are about say 30% that guests are coming. About say 30% of the guests are coming to Fontainhas. The remaining 70% are not really coming. The remaining 70 landed from the airport. Just tourists. They've taken a cab the airport, or they've landed by cab. They've taken a cab. They've landed by train. Those are pedestrian tourists. They will require. Those are pedestrian tourists. They will require a vehicle with this. They will now there are kind of vehicles that they will try. Now one is a kind of vehicles that they will try. One is a taxi which is either motorcycle pilot or a service. Or they will try to hire a renter bike or they will try to hire a renter bike. These vehicles that come from the 30%, these vehicles that come from Goa, the 30% that are driving to Goa, and the renter car and the renter bike tourists that are the renter car and the renter bike tourists that are the real problem. If you look at the fact that these houses were once occupied by people, they would have had a certain amount. They would have had a certain belong to that amount of vehicles. So this whatever is happening is belong to the displacement of vehicles. So this whatever is happening is kind of a displacement of vehicles. I'm not saying that this is a solution. We can't. I'm not saying that this is a solution. We can't really say the houses which are otherwise. Some of these houses which are single house given out can be tourism, or one single house given out rooms that are given out for, or can be number of rooms that are given out for that you are looking at something like 10 rooms in a house, you are 10 something like 10 rooms in a house having 10 vehicles. So the whole that's purpose is what I'm trying to say over here. The whole purpose is what I'm trying to say over here is that directly out of the first should move directly out of centralized parking lots, and they should people be given the services of a bus. People be given the services of a bus.
The hotel owner.
So when they do the booking itself, all right. So when they do the booking itself, either some of these houses have some of these houses have got parking lots of their own. Yeah, they will, or they will not come. Yeah, they will, or
so
they will
all
not
this
come.
is covered
So
under
all
the
this is covered
no more
under
zone.
the no more zone.
It very clearly specifies that this is not
that this is not for
other
cars
of
than
other
the residents.
Now, understand that we are promoting heterogeneous development, and there is lot of space from the domestic ones. Now we in our area also get upscale international tourists. There's no problem at all. They come in groups with guides. There's no problem whatsoever with them. The problem is domestic tourists. And the problem is not with 100% of the domestic tourists. It's 80% because they have social conflicts with us. Social conflicts are bringing in tension and conflicts. These are the loud and rude tourists that we have to deal with. The guest houses, the owners of the guest house, it is incumbent on them to tell their guests if they are coming with their own cars that you cannot park this in this area, which some of them they don't do. Okay? So for them, they are selective. If all the guest house owners tell them, this is not a place for you, please do not park, the problem is solved. They are also in collusion inwardly with all of them because they want business. But business at the cost of the peace of the residents is totally unfair.
This is one more thing. Second thing is even restaurants are there.
No,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm trying to identify, make a difference between, say, retail retail commercialization and residential commercialization. In a restaurant, for every table that you've got, you could end up expecting 2 vehicles bringing people to that place. So you can imagine something with like 20 or 30 tables like this could invite something like 10, 15 vehicles to that place. So those are unsustainable. They just cannot be sustained by this thing. They have to go to a centralized parking lot, and there has to be a system of dropping the people, valet parking, or a system of taking people.
Who will do that valet parking? Is the government?
No. This valet parking has to be done by the commercial establishment. That's the only way it can be done. You know, the problem is also. There's another thing I just wanted to bring to the notice before we get into.
Don't mind. There are more people talking. Please don't mind.
So there's another thing that we are also experiencing is what is happening from commercial hawkers. Yeah, and this is something which is worrisome because the commercial hawkers are also trying to act like people managing parking. All right, so you've seen them directing people how to go there, how to park over there, etc. etc. And apparently they're collecting fees from the people who are parking. All right, this is a bit worrisome because this is going to end up building up small mafias, streetwise mafias, who will try to control each of these streets. Little battles between each of these mafias, and I think that this has to be looked at very, very seriously. This has to be stopped immediately.
I'm here to oppose the Festa do Povo, which we had last year. It was a one-day festival that was held at Fontainhas and the next day at Sao Tome. Now, this year, I suppose Fontainhas said a no. So, Sao Tome, we were requested to have the festival for 2 days at Sao Tome. Now, the participants, after experiencing everything last year, and everything was conducted. So we do not want to have it.
Which festival?
Festa do Povo.
Festa do Povo.
Festa do Povo. They had
It was
last year.
something that started last year. So the previous ward already said no. So we have been requested to have it for 2 days instead of 1
Can
day.
I add,
Yes.
last year Fontainhas itself, I mean also is that part of that, we also said no. But then somebody from Sao Tome bulldozed and they said we must have.
So a lot of things of this kind are going on. We are not happy about it. And we have the signatures of the residents of Sao Tome and Fontainhas who have objected to this.
That closed the house during that day of festival.
And more signatures are pouring in. There was no time to collect. So we shall be continuing taking the signatures.
We have nearly 100 signatures come. We would like to highlight and thank you once again for holding this press conference at such a brief notice. Our main issue was to highlight the grievances of the residents of Sao Tome and Fontainhas. My colleagues have already explained to you all the grievances, most of it. Our main issues are now, this is mass tourism in our areas. Now, we are not against tourism. We want tourism to happen, but it has to be a regulated and organized one. Mostly because this place has by-lanes, narrow lanes, and does not have the holding capacity. There is no infrastructure for this mass tourism. We prefer that this should be for the tourists to be a pedestrian zone. Now this signboard that was installed which said no motor zone is more causing a conflict. It doesn't give clarity. So the tourists feel it's their right of way to walk in the middle of the streets. So there is always a conflict between a motorist and the pedestrian. So they lay siege of the entire road. So also these two-wheelers from all these casino staff and the casinos, four-wheelers, they park on these narrow lanes in front of people's residences, which is of nuisance to the residents, because as they said, when there is an emergency, you cannot access your own place. So also there are these rent-a-cars, there are these touts, there is hawkers, which are causing innumerable hardships to the residents, and also those influencers and social media people who come to click photographs, video shoots. This infringes on the privacy of the residents. It is a threat to our security. There are women and elderly people who don't feel secure when there is filming going around. You're peeping into people's private residences. So this comes because of this unruly and misbehaving tourists that we experience. So if this could be regularized, it would be of great relief to the residents of this place. So also there are places where commercial establishments are going beyond their limits and going on public lanes, which is impeding the flow of public, whether it is traffic or pedestrian.
So these also needs to be addressed.